Hey everybody, before I get started, I just want to mention a couple of ways that you can engage with me on a more personal level. I have a few avenues set up and I keep focusing on one, and I figured why don't I make a short little video talking about all of them real quick before we get into these episodes. So first thing, Patreon. There's a link in the episode description, in every episode description to the Patreon, as well as a video on the feed called Major Announcement that has all the details of what each tier offers and how much they cost. I implore you to check that out. I offer a lot of cool shit for my patrons. Second thing, the Discord channel. There's also a Discord link in the episode description and in every episode description. I have multiple channels set up there for each show that I'm covering, and it's a great way to just engage with me. I have a channel set up for MMA talk as well. I'm a big MMA fan, so if you're an MMA fan, you can check that out as well. There's a link to the Discord in the episode description. And then lastly, the Facebook and Twitter. Social media. Follow me on there. I post news on there. When I say news, I mean like, hey, I'm stopping covering this show. Hey, I'm starting covering this show. Let me know what you think about this. I do live watches of things on Facebook where like I'll check in and say I'm watching so-and-so show, and then I'll like live comment while I'm watching it, and that'll be cool if maybe you watch that show too and you want to watch along with me, or you're watching it later and you will see my thoughts, which are usually pretty entertaining because I'm usually pretty high when I'm writing them. So check out all those links in each episode description, and let's talk about this episode. Peace.
One mic, one mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic. One mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic. One mic. One mic.
Hey everybody, welcome back to One Mic, where I watch shit so you don't have to. And today I'm here to do a season 1 preview of the upcoming HBO series The Last of Us, which is based off of a very popular video game series that I actually own and have not played. But we'll be talking about that and my lack of familiarity with the source material in a moment. But I want to start by talking about how I plan on doing kind of like these preview videos before each of these big show releases. You know, especially for something that's like coming up on a recurring season. So like before season 4 of Succession, I'm going to do a preview video, probably going to be talking about, okay, here's what happened in season 3 if you forgot, you know, all that kind of stuff. I'll do the same thing for Yellow Jackets. But for shows like this where we don't have previous seasons, I decided I want to get in front of you guys and just kind of lay out the case for why we collectively need to be watching this show. So I figured that would be a good reason to let you guys know that I'm, one, going to be doing these sorts of videos, and two, to give you guys kind of like a primer, I guess, for what to expect, or not even what to expect, because I don't know what to expect. I haven't played the game. Well, I played it a little bit, but I haven't completed the game or even come close to it. But give you guys an idea of just what kind of quality to expect and who all is involved in the making of this project, and hopefully that can gas you up a little bit to get you to watch the show and to follow these videos. So I want to start by pointing out that the showrunners here are Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann. Neil Druckmann is the co-president of Naughty Dogs, which is the video game developer that makes The Last of Us. So that's his portion, I think, of this, is probably tying in the video game into the show and just like, okay, this is what we need, this is what we don't, you know, maybe that kind of thing. I'm guessing, obviously. But the showrunner that I want to talk about here is Craig Mazin, because Craig Mazin was the showrunner for Chernobyl, which, let's talk about Chernobyl for a minute here. So it's January 2023 currently. Chernobyl was a miniseries that came out on HBO in 2019. It was 5 episodes, and it covered, obviously, the nuclear reactor disaster that happened in Chernobyl in Russia in, I want to say, 86, somewhere in there in the 80s. And I can't properly explain to you this show, because like it wasn't like you watched Chernobyl in 2019, you're like, oh man, that was a dope miniseries, or oh wow, I really learned a lot about the Chernobyl disaster based on this really interesting miniseries on HBO. No, it wasn't even that. It was like, yo, is this the best show of the year? It wasn't even that. It was like, is this one of the best things ever made? And I bullshit you not. You guys know, I don't fuck around with hyperbole. I mean, if you're new to this channel, you don't know that. But if you're someone who's been around, you know I don't fuck around with hyperbole. So if I really want to heap praise on something, I reserve it for the things that deserve it. Just like if I really want to shit on something, I save it for something that really deserves it. Chernobyl is one of the few shows that I have given like internally like a perfect rating to. Like this show is incredible. Like if you haven't seen Chernobyl, I'm not gonna say stop this video and go watch it, but after you're done with this video, go start Chernobyl, man. Like you will not be just Chernobyl is an experience. I'm telling you, like it's special. So for this guy to have not done anything really, I mean, I think I saw on IMDb he was like a consultant on Mythic Quest, which I think is an Apple TV show, but he hasn't like done his own show since then. That feels to me like he is doing that because he wants to make sure that he gives all the proper attention to this show that it deserves. Because I feel like HBO wants this show to be the prestige drama that The Walking Dead never really was. Like, I feel like they want this to be what The Walking Dead looked like it might be, but never ended up becoming. And I think Craig Mazin here is probably the right guy to do that, considering the astronomical levels of suspense and tension that you see in the Chernobyl show. And I'm telling you, you will be sweating, hands gripping the fucking couch. Chernobyl did not fuck around. So for him to take something like this, another thing that's kind of a disaster kind of thing, it's set in a post-apocalyptic world, for me to know what he did in those 5 episodes of Chernobyl, and to think that same guy is now about to be handed the reins of what I suspect HBO wants to be like their next big thing, because, you know, they canceled Westworld. You know, Game of Thrones is obviously over. They're going to be looking at House of the Dragon to be one of those things. But, you know, HBO likes to have a big show on all the time. So, like, you might have a couple weeks off, and the next big show, the Sunday at 9 o'clock slot. I've talked about it before. And I think that they want this to be, like, part of, like, the 3-headed monster that will probably be House of the Dragon, Succession, and this. But, yeah, I'm really excited for this show. So it's going to be 9 episodes. I'm going to cover all 9 of them. There'll be Monday video releases. I'm going to be watching it on Sunday night, just like all the rest of you guys. I'm not at the point of having gotten screeners yet. I haven't even I've sought them out internally. I've well-intentioned hoped for them, but I have not actually put plans into play to get screeners, although I do intend on doing that. But I'll be watching it on Sunday night with you guys, so I'll be recording and posting the video reviews on Monday morning. They'll probably, by the time I get through, I might rewatch the episode. I don't know, kind of depends, but probably won't. But by the time I get back from doing all my morning drop-offs, doing a little bit of my work, recording the video, editing it, getting it uploaded, you guys probably won't see it until, I would wager, early Monday, like Monday afternoon, 2 o'clock range, somewhere there, 2 o'clock Eastern. But that's the plan, though, is to have those be Monday releases. Like I mentioned at the top of the video, I have not played the game. I am familiar with it. I do own it. I started it. And when I say I started it, I mean I played, like, I don't know, it's probably like until like an opening credit sequence or something. Like there's like an opening little bit of gameplay. I did that, and that was it. So I have not played the game. I do own it. And I do intend on playing it. And what I might do is maybe have like a concurrent kind of like I'm playing the game while I'm watching the show, and then maybe that can be a video too. Damn, that's a good fucking idea. Like if these videos do well, because I'm not gonna do this if I'm gonna be doing it for fucking 200 plays. Like I'm not gonna waste that amount of time. Like it's already a ton of time and commitment and energy to get these shows watched, get these videos recorded, edited, uploaded, all of that. To do that for not a lot of views isn't worth it. But if the views are decent for this, I probably will do maybe like a play along kind of thing. And then maybe I'll do 2 or 3 videos a week where one video will be about the show, and then the other video or other 2 videos will be about my progress in the game and how that kind of aligns with the show. I think that'd be really fucking cool. So you guys better make that worth my time, because I kind of want to do it. But especially with January being such a like a short month on shows coming out and stuff like that, I have content prepared for January, but I kind of want to do this, so make it worth my time, guys. So, like I said, it's short. It's a kind of like a post-apocalyptic game. It's about this guy having to escort a little girl across post-apocalyptic United States, where humans have become infected. And like I said, it seems like this is gonna be essentially The Walking Dead for HBO, but with HBO treating it with the kind of care where you bring in a Craig Mazin to do the show, as opposed to my man for The Walking Dead. It was Robert, I'll draw the blank on his name, a man who made The Walking Dead, who just completely stopped giving a fuck about the quality of that show real fucking early. So, yeah, looking forward to this. So, last thing I want to talk about before I wrap up this little preview video, like I said, I've talked about the episodes, I've talked about who's involved in it, a little bit about the plot, but again, I don't know a ton about the plot, but even if I did, I wouldn't want to say more than what I've already said, because I feel like a lot of what's gonna happen is gonna that's gonna color how we look at the show. Like, I don't want to like start digging into the plot and find out things that are gonna affect how I take in the show. Speaking of which, I am one who at this point, I'm kind of almost opposed to having taken in the source material of whatever it is that I might be watching or reviewing. So what I mean by that is, if it's a show that's based on a book or a movie that's based on a book, I kind of like not having read the source material. In this case, it's a video game. And the reason I say that is because one thing that really irks me is when people criticize a show or a film based on just on the fact that it's different from in the book. And people cannot wait. They talk about vegans and CrossFit people. Another motherfucker that can't wait to tell you some shit is a motherfucker who's read the book that a TV show or a movie is based on. They can, in the book, like, okay, I don't give a fuck. I'm so serious, guys. I don't mean this with any kind of animosity toward the inevitable comments that will be in these videos over these 9 weeks. I don't give a fuck how it compares to the game. I promise you, I do not care, because that is not a flaw in the show. Like, the fact that it's different from what you liked in the video game is not a show flaw. It might be an adaptation flaw to you, but to me, it's not a flaw. So I don't want to hear like, oh, in the game they did. I don't give a fuck what they did in the game. It either works with the show or it doesn't. If it doesn't work for you because you like how they did it in the game better, cool. But that's a you problem. That's not a show problem. So I'm not caring about that. I don't know how I got on that tangent, but how did I get on that tangent talking about not caring? Oh, because I'm saying like I haven't read the source material or anything like that. So I don't want it to ruin how I enjoy the show. I'm not going to be talking about how it compares to the game. I don't give a fuck. Like, it's just going to be, this is what happens on the show. So, and I like having that. I like not having that base knowledge. There's a part of me that kind of would like to know, but at the end of the day, it's really not about, I want to know what's going to happen in the show so I can compare it to the game or anything like that. I think it really is just kind of like a FOMO, like a fear of missing out, where it's like, there's a ton of people looking forward to this show because they know everything about the game. So they're like, oh, I know what I'm in for. There's a feeling of like not knowing what I'm in for while knowing that everyone else does know what they're in for that kind of gives me pause. But at the end of the day, I'd rather just have this little bitty bit of FOMO rather than sitting here thinking about how it doesn't compare to the game and shit like that. So, which is another reason why I think it's cool to potentially play the game at the same time as I'm watching the show. But I didn't want this video to be this long, so let me wrap up by talking about some of the people who are going to see in this show. So, the two main leads in the show. One is Pedro Pascal. He's going to play the role of Joel. We all know Pedro Pascal from Narcos. We know him as the Mandalorian, though he very rarely shows his face on that show. And of course, as my second all-time favorite character on Game of Thrones, Oberyn Martell. Speaking of Game of Thrones, the other lead role of Ellie, which means this is another suspense/horror show where I'm going to be watching a post-apocalyptic suspense horror thing with a kid named Ellie. But she's played by Bella Ramsey, who we also know from Game of Thrones, who stole the show every time she appeared on the screen as Lyanna Mormont on Game of Thrones. In other roles, there's a lot of names that I recognize that are going to be in this cast, and I had no idea until I saw them in the trailer and until I started looking up the cast to do this video. So we got Diego Luna. I know him mostly from playing Ghost Rider on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the best season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., season 4. Great one. Anna Torv, who I only know from Fringe, but Fringe is the shit, so if you haven't seen Fringe, watch that. Murray Bartlett, who he played Armand on season 1 of The White Lotus. That's the only thing I know him from, though. But that's pretty impressive. His performance on that show was good enough for me to recognize his name only in script. I didn't see his picture. Just I was like, oh, Murray Bartlett. I remember him from The White Lotus. So good job by him on White Lotus for me to be able to pick him up with that being the only thing I've seen him in, and not seeing a picture, just seeing the name. Melanie Linsky, we know her from Yellow Jackets. She plays the adult version of Shauna if you watch Yellow Jackets. Nick Offerman, who we've seen in everything. He's probably best known for Parks and Rec, but I mean, like, if I'm saying Nick Offerman to you right now, you're like, who is that? Google him. I promise you'll recognize his face. Storm Reed is in this. I know her mainly from Euphoria. She's in, I think, what was it? Like, was she in A Wrinkle of Time? What's her name? I'm drawing a blank on the woman who made it. I can even see her face. DuVernay. DuVernay. I think she might have been in that, but I didn't see that. I know Storm Reed. She plays Gia, who is Rue's younger sister on Euphoria. Rue is Zendaya's character. And Rutina Wesley, who I have not seen in anything probably since the main thing that I know her from, which is True Blood. She played Tara on True Blood. So lots of really interesting actors chosen for this. A lot of recognizable faces and names. They brought in big dogs for to run the show. I mean, it's looking like this is gonna be set up to be HBO's next big thing. So I'm in on the ride. I'm assuming you guys, if you're watching this, you're in on the ride. We will be on this train for the next 9 weeks, and like I said, make it worth my while. I will pump out Last of Us videos, and I would absolutely love to do a first-time playthrough of the game while this show is airing. I think that'd be super fucking cool, and I don't even really need it to be that good of I'm so into the idea that it just can't be a complete fucking waste of time. Like, it's free to do it. So if you guys want me to do that, share this video. If you're somebody who's a longtime fan of this channel, you should already be sharing my shit anyway. Get all that out there. Get these views up. Get these views up. We'll see what. I'm not expecting too much out of this video, but when episode 1 airs on Sunday and I get that video up on Monday, watch it, share it, pump it up. We'll see what happens. If it looks good, I'll get started on that game, man, and it'll be a good couple of months for us to spend with this show and with this game. And until Monday, peace.